What do you mean not late today? I'm, what, 2 minutes late to the scheduled stream? I'm sorry. Are you trying to take away my personal habit of lateness? I will not allow that to happen. I will not allow that to happen at all. It's just not a thing, not going to happen. Sorry. I'm perpetually late and proud of it. Hi, guys. Good to see everyone. Also, I don't know why, but I feel like, so this lens is supposed to be a lot more zoomed out, and it isn't being a lot more zoomed out. So I don't know what's going on. It's weird. It's supposed to be like super zoomed out. Normally it's much farther away than it is today and was yesterday. Hi, Christina. Hi, Joe. Hi, Taz. Hi, Carolyn. Hi, SSW. Hi, Ed. Hi, Matthew. Hi, Niels. Hi, Mark. Hi, Joe here. Hi, Christina. Oh, hi, Christina. Hi, Glacian. Hi, Jeremy. You guys, I want to start with talking about something that's like relevant, but not necessarily about Ukraine news. So I've posted a couple of videos about like comparisons of Ukraine to Gaza and about how people who, a lot of people who support Gaza intentionally don't support Ukraine and also like say things, you know, like, oh, Ukrainians have to do this and Ukrainians have to do that. In order for us to support us, you have to like denounce Israel and you have to like, I don't know, call on for a ceasefire, but never ask that of people in Gaza, of course. That is not a problem of people in Gaza. That is a problem of like pseudo activists who selectively care about genocides. But that's not what I'm trying to say. So these videos turn into like a freaking shit show where people in the comments are yelling at each other and being really mean and are like talking about Israel and talking about Palestine and like I'm not going to name names, but some of you are like going ham and you will respond to literally every single comment that remotely suggests that helping evacuate Palestinians or being against bombing of Palestinians is somehow wrong. Both I and the president of this country, it turns out, agree that here is the thing. While a lot of people have made it like an extreme issue where it's either one camp or the other camp, I personally believe that Israel has a right to exist. Palestinian people have a right to exist and self-determine. Israel had a right to defend itself from the October 7th terrorist attack. However, not at the cost of wiping out an entire fucking like strip. That's not okay. So I don't understand how people can go into the comments about a post where I'm just saying, hey, Ukrainians evacuated 305 people from Gaza and Zelensky called on Israel to stop bombing Palestine by saying that, no, these people should not have been evacuated. That's bad because go Israel. Have you lost your mind? Like, yes, Hamas is bad. Hamas is a terrorist organization. Netanyahu is a fascist. But have you lost your mind saying that evacuating people that got caught in a crossfire that get killed is bad? I don't give a shit whether you support Israel or Palestine. I don't care what your view on it is. It's a complicated conflict, a very, very complicated one. But how can you, as a normal person who supports Ukraine, who supports Ukrainians, go and say that it is not okay to evacuate people from being murdered? You might not like them. You might think they're all indoctrinated into Hamas. Like, I fully understand the issues that there are in Gaza with Hamas and with indoctrination and stuff like that. But like, dude, even if 7-year-olds were going to be raised to become Hamas fighters one day, they're fucking 7-year-olds right now. They're not killing anyone. And if they're evacuated from Gaza and they're sent to, I don't know, to live with their parents and with their moms, most likely, somewhere in Egypt or literally anywhere else, most likely that is not going to happen for them. But also, like, they're fucking children. I don't support Hamas. I don't support Netanyahu. But what I also don't support is people going into the comments and saying that evacuating Palestinians is wrong because go Israel. They are people that are dying. And as someone who lives in Ukraine, who's witnessing lots of people dying from bombing, I don't want that to happen to anyone else. And I think humanitarian aid and evacuating people, especially evacuating people and extracting them out of Gaza, is the best thing that anyone can do. Because if your belief is that every single member of like every single person who lives in Gaza is somehow a Hamas fighter, then extracting these kids before they can become one is probably best. Okay? So even if you are like that and that's your view, then you want them to be extracted out of there. Okay? But like, Jesus, like, I'm sorry. I just got so annoyed because like, and I don't want to like, you know, like, I don't want to like take too much time out of like Ukraine news for this, right? But this pissed me off so much because I've seen a couple of people that I know that come to these lives all the time that are very supportive of Ukraine go and comment under every single comment that in some way doesn't support Hamas, but in some way supports Palestinian people against the suffering of being caught in a freaking like bombshell fire. And I just, first of all, how do you fucking have the time to go and comment if you like, and I know you're not a troll. Like, in fact, I like you. Okay? Like, how do you have the time to go under every single comment where someone is expressing compassion to people that are being bombed and go and say that this is trash, that this is happening? Like, I can't with the world anymore. I feel like every time I go on the internet, every single day, I just get, like, every day, I just get this much closer to shutting off all of my social media and moving to like a rainforest somewhere. And like abandoning everything and never showing back up in like the world with technology and people talking. Because seriously, again, let me reiterate this. These videos are not an invitation for a shit show of fighting who's right or who's wrong. I intentionally avoid talking about politics of it all. And I intentionally avoid talking about that because the point is that there are people on one side right now that are being bombed. Whether you like them or not, they're living in tents and they're living in shelters. And in fact, it is good for everyone to evacuate them out of there because no matter how much you don't like them, they deserve to live at least in a freaking place with a roof. Because I will tell you that 7-year-olds did not fucking terrorize anyone. Maybe they would have been indoctrinated to do so, but they're not right now. And like, it drives me absolutely just off the walls. I intentionally talk about Palestinian people and the fact that they are suffering. I don't talk about Hamas. I don't talk about Netanyahu. In fact, I had this entire bit at the end of this video, but I cut it out specifically because I don't want people going at each other's throats. Because the thing is, when you talk about Ukraine, most of the people that write unhinged shit are Russians, Russian trolls, and crazy MAGA supporters. But people that write unhinged shit when they're talking about Israel, Palestine are real people. And that is way harder to process, especially when those are people that you like, that you know that they're nice and good and genuine and like, you know, have helped Ukraine and have been compassionate. And then like reading all of this stuff just like drives me up a wall. The reason why I haven't spoken on this issue to begin with is because of that. And because I feel like there is no middle ground and there is no rational thinking and people don't listen to you. Because there is one side that is on one extreme and one side that is on another extreme. But this is not a black and white situation. And it's not okay to just pick one side and be like, everything is bad there. People should die on this side, or this side should cease to exist, or that side. It's wild to me. I understand there is a sea of propaganda, but goddamn, it is awful. Please stop using the comment section of my videos of like that are relating the situation. Not even, I don't want to relate the situation in Ukraine and Gaza because they're completely different, but trying to talk to people on the pro-Palestinian movement. And I specifically, these videos are meant for those that do support people in Palestine and consider their situation a genocide, but love to hate on Ukraine. This is who it's addressed to, right? And I am telling you things that Ukraine has been doing as any normal country would do, with compassion, to help the humanitarian situation that unveiled there. Don't take these videos as an invitation to like pour out all of the shit, like dirty shit that's stuck inside of you on people that are sympathizing with people suffering. Like, I will block you. I don't care how much like we've talked. I don't care how much like how nice of a person I've considered you until that moment. I will block you. Because as much as I block people that write unhinged stuff about Ukraine, I will block people who write unhinged stuff about other people and their suffering. I think like everyone is conscious of a person enough to understand that people don't deserve being bombed every day. They don't. Anyways, and if they are, they deserve a chance to live somewhere where they're not being bombed. Hi, Martin. I created a video on TikTok. Good to see you. I created a video on TikTok, and you know what? Why don't I play you the video so we're all on the same page? My head hurts now. Sorry. So does mine. All the time. I'm gonna play you the video, which is largely talking about all the humanitarian efforts that Ukraine has done in Gaza to evacuate civilians out of Gaza. Because there is a lot of misinformation saying that Ukraine has done nothing, and Ukraine has, and we have done that actually while we are in a war defending ourselves. So that's quite a lot because we already have a lot on our plate, okay? And I'm going to reiterate that the position of the Ukrainian president, as it turns out, as of June 2nd, is that Israel has a right to exist. Palestinian people have a right to self-determination. Hamas is a terrorist organization. He didn't say this about Netanyahu, but I will. He's a fascist. And Israel had a right to defend itself against the terrorist attack on October 7th, but not to the tune of wiping out an entire strip and leaving like millions of people without homes. That's not okay. Not okay. Anyways, this was the video.
About how evil Ukraine supports the genocide in Gaza, shall we? These are 305 civilians that were evacuated from Gaza by Ukraine. And before you say something along the lines of, oh, now they're trying to save their reputation, nothing to save. That happened back in December. And we have our own genocide that we're fighting as well. You didn't know this because why do research? But actually, one of the largest populations of foreigners that live in Gaza are Ukrainian. How did that happen? Well, because the USSR was partnered with Palestine back in the day, and they actually used to bring a lot of Palestinians to the USSR to study in colleges. And a lot of Ukrainian women met Palestinian men, and then after independence, went to live in Palestine with them. So there are actually a lot of Palestinian Ukrainians. I know, what a concept, right? Oh, and then of course there's this. Well, Zelensky never called for a ceasefire.
When Israel was in the territory of Gaza and there was a humanitarian crisis, Ukraine said, first, we are ready to help humanitarianly to Gaza. Secondly, you need to respect international laws. Thirdly, Ukraine recognizes two states, Israel and Palestine, and it will do everything for Israel to stop, to end this conflict so that civilians do not suffer.
Any more excuses to not support Ukraine now? Let's talk a bit about how evil Ukraine.
That was the video. На добраніч. And that was the video. And like the comments here are unhinged, like genuinely unhinged. Ukraine recognized Palestine back in the USSR. So it was Ukrainian SSR that recognized Palestine as its separate state. We never went back on that because well, we didn't. But the point is that like, it doesn't matter which side you support in the conflict, which it's a super complicated conflict. I think that the agreement should be that going under each comment of a person who sympathizes with civilians and just wishes they could get evacuated and like says that it's a good thing that civilians were evacuated and saying, no, it's a terrible thing, go Israel, is kind of unhinged. Like it's unhinged. Okay. Because like, I have a lot of thoughts on this situation and I don't like, it's not as black and white as like Ukraine and Russia is in a lot of ways, because again, Hamas is a terrorist organization. And I think that Palestinians have a problem in the face of Hamas as well. And I don't think that Palestine will actually be free until it's free from Hamas. But at the same time, like I do not support the bombing. I do not support the wiping out of neighborhoods. And I understand. And I know that people will say that Israel notifies people before like they bomb a specific area, but it's like, have you seen Palestine and like Gaza at this point? Like these people are not going to be able to reach somewhere on time. And also like reach where? Like take the little stuff they have and then just end up living in a tent. Like it's not fair. And it's not fair no matter which way you look at it. And I'm saying this from like a perspective of someone who at first was like completely just like, what the fuck? Like I saw the October 7th attack and I was like, oh, fuck this. Like that was fucked up. Like I'm not okay with that. But like the further it goes, the more I'm just like, all the propaganda aside, it's gone way too far. Like way too far. And I don't even want to start getting into the political aspects of it and like the Hamas versus like Netanyahu government aspects of this, the how Israel was formed aspects of this. But what I will say is that I absolutely cannot believe that people will be upset about 305 civilians being evacuated by Ukraine, call Zelensky an asshole for that, and say that he is on the wrong side of history. Like, we evacuated civilians. That picture is mostly children and like women. Like, how do you have an issue with that? How do you have an issue with evacuating civilians out of bombing, no matter how much you dislike them? Like, what? Anyways, I just think that it's kind of wild to like take anyway. You know what? I think I've spoken a lot on this already, but it's not, but that's the thing. It's not, hi Armin, but it's not like, so it says it is an issue for bots, but like these are not bots. The people I see arguing in the comments are people I see here on lives. And again, like taking aside what side you're on, right? This is a video about evacuation of civilians. This is not a video taking sides. Like I'm not going to, I'm not going to talk about that on the internet because like we have our own genocide to deal with. But I will say that being upset about civilians being evacuated from under bombing is wild to me, especially as someone who lives in Ukraine. I am like just at a loss for words in a lot of ways. I do not support the whole like Israel shouldn't exist thing. It's like, have we forgotten how Israel came to exist. Like, World War II, the Holocaust, not safe anywhere, need their own land type situation. Like, did we forget how that happened? Israel has a right to exist, but so do Palestinians. They shouldn't be bombed every single freaking day. Like, I wouldn't wish that upon anyone. I've seen Bakhmut, I've seen Mariinka. Like, what? Evacuation of civilians is holy, but define civilians. Do 7-year-olds strike you as not civilians? Because do 7-year-olds strike you as not civilians somehow? Because this, to me, looks like mostly children. And their moms. Some men, but also mostly children and moms. That's civilians. What is a solution? It's not listen, you guys, I'm Ukrainian and I talk about Ukraine because I know the politics and geopolitics and the problems and Russian propaganda and all of that through and through. I'm not even going to begin to touch the Israel-Palestine situation because I'm not educated enough on the matter to go through the intricacies of this situation. But as a person, just reasonably speaking, I don't see how someone can be upset about Ukraine evacuating 305 people out of a bombed out place because we could. I don't see how someone can be upset over Ukraine sending food to Gaza, because even if you believe that all of the humanitarian aid turns into weapons, I doubt you can turn buckwheat into an explosive. And if you can, do let me know how to, because that would be super helpful to our cause. Anyways, I've given this way too much time taken away from Ukrainian news to begin with, but I can't. I can't. I thought you needed money for war. We're not getting money. We're getting weapons, and we're getting money equivalent in weapons. So please stop with your cheap little propaganda tricks, because Ukraine still is the breadbasket of Europe, and we produce a lot of grain, so we can send that to places in need as long as Russia doesn't block it. We have that. We have food. We produce a lot of food, although our capacity has fallen significantly because a lot of the fields were mined, and a lot of them have been flooded by the Kakhovka Dam explosion created by Russia. Yeah. What we don't have is weapons to defend ourselves. So that's what we need. Yeah. And we can't make weapons out of buckwheat. Although if you know how to do that, I'll take suggestions. Anyways. Thank you, Niels, for gifting 5 memberships to the YouTube channel. Super, super highly appreciated, genuinely. Val, I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to a troll, but also genuinely, the thing is, I don't want to debate on this topic because this is not something that I do. I don't talk about Israel and Palestine, and I do that consciously because there are people way more qualified to speak on this subject, both from one side and from another. I am saying that I definitely don't want the children there to be dying. And I do not support bombing out the whole strip. I can't call it's not country because right, one bank, another bank. But anyways, I don't support the bombing, especially as someone who lives in Ukraine and seize places like Bakhmut, Mariinka, and all of that. I don't like that. And I don't know, every time I start talking about this subject, it's like I'm flabbergasted by responses. And I feel like people get so divided on this and people get so hateful. And it's like, there are people that support Ukraine, but will be upset over me saying what I had just said, which will cost me and my country and support dearly. And we are being required so much. Like, support Israel, support Palestine, condemn Israel, condemn condemn Hamas, do this, do that. Like, you guys, we're trying to survive. And every single thing we say or do costs us support, both in people, both in like governments. We are playing political chess because we're going through a genocide here. And I feel like, you know, I can't even say like, hey, I'm glad people got evacuated, because I will get attacked by one side or the other. I can't say, hey, I don't support the complete annihilation of Israel because what the fuck, because I will be called a Zionist. I can't say, hey, Hamas is a terrorist, but I don't support, you know, wiping out of Gaza because I will be called a Zionist again. But if I say anything positive about like Palestinian people and helping evacuate civilians, like I've seen so many women with like 7 children that need to get the fuck out. And like, I support that, get them out. Like what? Like I will be called like a fucking terrorist supporter. And it's just like, Jesus Christ. Like, please put your emotions aside and put your hatred aside and put your like, I don't know, and put your like, preconceived notions aside and just listen to what I'm saying. I was upset over people who support Israel yelling at people who support Palestine, don't support Palestine in my comments, who were just saying that they're happy that 305 people, most of whom are women and children, were evacuated by Ukraine from Palestine. Like, it's unhinged. It's unhinged to be upset over that. Unhinged. Anyways, I agree and tired of it all. I hate to even give them a platform. Honestly, I hate talking about it because like, I first of all, again, like, I think that I'm damned if I do and I'm damned if I don't, because at the end of the day, like, my country is my priority, and it's a priority for me because there are people in my country living in places the size of Gaza. And I mean, like, each city is the size of Gaza that's being like wiped out. And my priority is saving those people because I live in the same country as them. And I moved here specifically to help. And it's just like, you know, damned if I do and I'm damned if I don't. Also, can someone please block the troll right here, the Yelena Vershenina? Yes, Elena, I'm expecting something. I'm expecting you to be kicked the fuck out of here. That's what I'm expecting. That's exactly what I'm expecting. Thanks. Anyways, this is... okay. Anyways, so mankind isn't ready for the internet. Too many smooth brains cannot understand nuance. Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. Anyhow, moving on from this, we're finally going to, 30 minutes in, we're going to talk about the news about Ukraine. We're going to move into like our actual nightly subject. Oh, hi, James. And also, hi, Anthony. Hi, everybody that I did not have the time to say hello to yet because I was profoundly raising my voice because that's just what I professionally do. I raise my voice. It's just a thing. Okay, so for those of you who are game fans or gaming fans, in the new gameplay trailer for Stalker 2: Heart of Chernobyl, the developers used music by Mykola Mozgovy. GSC Game World has refused to provide Russian localization for the game. In response, hackers threatened to leak game materials. Of course they did. The game is expected to be released on September 5th, 2024 on Xbox Series and PC. Wait, how did the fundraising go? Well, we raised about $500. Yes, well, it wasn't a fundraiser. So I just re-signed my lease in the US. I had to because I can't not have a lease. Also, Vasily lives there. Also, I have 13 years worth of things in that apartment. And no, I don't mean sentimental. I mean like valuable stuff that I can't move. And I shared yesterday how I had to pay quite a lot of money to do that, and some of it up front, and a friend of mine helped me out, and it was like a whole thing. And now my roommates are going to pay rent to her and stuff. And then some of you were very kind, but it's not a fundraiser because I try to avoid doing fundraisers of any sort for myself. Okay, the Shahed 136 type strike UAV downed by the Ukrainian armed forces, and that was today. So Shahed 136. So there are quite a. There are quite a few Shaheds that that fly over Ukraine. There are quite a few Shaheds that we get Shaheds attacks like almost every day, but I don't know if like you guys see what these things look like and how huge they are. So I kind of want to demonstrate that because one of the things I feel like a lot of people don't realize, especially, and I've reiterated this so many times, but I kind of want to reiterate this one more, 20 more, 50 more, 60 more times. Anytime that you look at the reports from Ukraine and the report says, for instance, like, oh, there were 120 Shaheds that were flying towards Ukraine and pitch it and return to sender. No, oh yeah, that, okay. I got it now. But basically, anytime you see a report and the report says like, out of 120 UAVs, like 115 or 110 or whatever it is were downed, right? Most people assume that no damage was done because most of the targets were downed. But that's not the case because they're being downed over, like, say, cities or over villages. So that's like over a school, over a building, over a field sometimes, best case scenario, over anything, right? And these things are huge. Like Shaheds are not small. They're not like your, like little like gameplay drone, right? They're not your little like drone with a camera. They are kamikaze drones. They're massive. And even if you down them, that massive piece of metal falls on something. And when it does, like for instance, let's say it falls onto a building. Best case scenario, it's going to ruin the roof and it's going to ruin like an apartment or two. A worst case scenario is if it's downed and it falls onto like an apartment building or an apartment complex or whatever it is, a school or something, and it hits like a gas tank or a boiler, or it hits like an electric line. In that case, there is going to be a massive fire. And a lot of the times Russia attacks during the night. Why do they do that? Because people are sleeping. So if something like that happens, a lot more people get injured. And Russia does that on purpose. So the reason why I showed this image is because I want you to understand how massive those things are and how much damage they actually cause, regardless of whether they have been taken down or not. So yeah, that's what this little speech was for. Let me see. Armin's quote is up. Okay. 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 Armin's quote is up. Okay. I think a quotation of the American founding father James Madison can help shed the light on this topic. Religious bondage shackles and religious bondage shackles and debilitates the mind and unfits it for every noble enterprise, every expanded prospect. The societies of the Middle East don't have separation of church and state. When one is a religious fanatic, one becomes easily unhinged. The political leaders of both Israel and Palestine are products of cultures that encourage the mixing of government and religion. So Armin is a self-assigned quote guy, and I do agree with that assessment because Armin does know a lot of quotes, and he sends us a quote every single time that he watches a live, and I like to read them out because they're always very on point and very on subject. And I feel like I need to reread that quote because, oh my gosh, was I struggling there. Okay. James Madison's quote: religious bondage shackles and debilitates the mind and unfits it for every noble enterprise, every expanded prospect. The societies of the Middle East don't have separation of church and state. When one is a religious fanatic, one becomes easily unhinged. The political leaders of both Israel and Palestine are products of cultures that encourage the mixing of government and religion. Yeah, that's actually very true. And I really do agree with that. I think that, like, this is truly a thing with, there are two sides to the coin, Okay, Turkey will be presented at the upcoming Summit of Peace. It will be represented at the upcoming summit on peace for Ukraine in Switzerland by country's foreign minister, Hakan Fidan. What is the status of the energy infrastructure? I have been told this winter will be bad. Well, what is the status of the energy infrastructure? Shite. It's very shite. I don't know why I said it that way, but it's really bad. I mean, to be honest, I've had, for the past 2 days, I have had no electricity cutoffs. And the day before that, I only had electricity cut off for 2 hours. I mean, Kyiv energy companies or energy provider is working really, really hard and overtime to like create as minimal disruptions as possible. But some days I have no electricity at all, and I will have electricity for like 2 to 4 hours cumulatively during the entire day. There were like 4 days like that in a row where it was really, really bad. It's been okay for the past 3 days, also because I think so ACs eat a lot of electricity and consume a lot of electricity. That was like a very Ukrainian thing to say in translation. In translation to English, because we say жре a lot of electricity, and жре means like gobbles, like, when you're like super, like when you're just like eating everything in your way. But so ACs consume a lot of electricity, and it was really, really hot. So people were using a lot of ACs, and now it's not, it hasn't really been that hot. So I think that's a contributing factor. Also, Kharkiv has completely been like, Kharkiv's electric infrastructure, like literally doesn't exist anymore. It cannot supply itself. So in order to compensate for that, Kharkiv had to, we basically have to help Kharkiv, and everyone around Kharkiv has to help Kharkiv, and everyone not around Kharkiv. Would solar panels have any use in Ukraine? Yeah, solar energy. So like a lot of countries that are renewing Ukraine's electric infrastructure are not going to renew it in the same way that it existed before. They are pledging projects to renew infrastructure, for instance, for like windmills, but those require a lot of space, and we might not have that. And for solar, so it's it's really, that's sort of what's happening. Yes, solar panels would do a lot of good in Ukraine. I thought you were in the USA. I was, and then I moved here. Do you know much about Tatars in Crimea? Yes, I do know quite a bit, but there are people that know a lot more. There is a page called Crimea Come Back, and There's this girl, Leah, she's Krim Tatar. So Krim Tatar people absolutely hate when they're being called Tatars and then referred to as like Tatars in Crimea. So Krim Tatar is one word. They're Krimli. And they're Crimean Tatars, not just Tatars in Crimea, because that means that, you know, they're just some Tatars that settled in Crimea. Like, no, they're indigenous to Crimea. And they're not called Tatars. They're Krim Tatars or Krimli, which is their real name. So I would like to advocate on their behalf to make sure that people don't just call them Tatars. But yes, Leah will tell you a lot more about it. Her page on Instagram is called Crimea Comeback. She has one on TikTok too, but I don't know if it's called Crimea Comeback as well. You guys, give me 1 second. I need to see what my dog is doing because she's making very strange noises and I am not happy about that. 1 sec. Cindy. Oh my God, wait. I have never seen this happen before. Oh my God. What are you doing in there, bud? Cindy. Oh my God. Cindy? Sin? Why are you shaking? What did you do? Cindy? What did you do? Are you cold? What's going on? Cindy, what am I missing?
You'll need to unlock your iPhone first.
I'm not saying Siri, I'm saying Cindy. Okay, so I don't know what's happening, but I will show you. So Cindy has a teepee. The teepee is too small for Cindy. She has never set foot inside of the teepee. It's become a graveyard for her toys. Like, literally. And I find my dog, okay, inside of the teepee. You can't even see her, but this is Cindy inside of the teepee. This is Cindy inside of the teepee, right there. Do you see that? Okay, here. She has never gone inside of there. I don't understand what she's doing, to be honest. I'm slightly concerned. Okay, 1 sec. Sin? What are you doing? Are you feeling okay, Bubba? What's going on? Okay, you guys, she's shaking. And I don't know why she's shaking. Okay, 1 sec. What's going on? Come here. Cindy. Come here. What's going on? Why are you shaking? Come here. God. What's happening? Hey. What's going on? What you do? Are you okay? What's happening, Sin? Why are you shaking? Hey, 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 hey. Shh. You're okay. Oh my God. Save me. What's going on? Okay, why are you uncontrollably shaking, dude? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Say me. Are you done? Okay. Sin, what you do? You guys, Sin, what's up? Okay. You guys, I don't know what's going on, but like I gotta go because she's like literally shaking. And I don't know, I've never seen her like that. And I'm very confused. So I need to go attend to that because it's not, you know, like it's not I don't like that. Okay. All right. Bye, guys.